deal with people who are freaking psychotic. But you know, hey, we made it, guys. Way to go. Um, let's see here. So in the title, and I'm sure you guys, I dropped a short earlier. We'll go over some of the strange, kind of one-off, exotic, novelty ammunition. Um, as I'm saying this, I kind of classify these things as, well, who's going to honestly go out and shoot dragon's breath except to, dick around and whatever. I mean, there's no real, I mean, it's ammo, but, the purpose for stuff like that really, the pros and cons and just complete bullshit. Let's put it that way. So anyways, there's that. I'll be doing some of the debunking with that. I mean, one thing for certain. So a lot of people, they see some of these specialty rounds or shells or whatever, and especially people that are newer to firearms, but it's, I don't know, put it this way, simple stupid truths. It's like when people talk about the rip rounds, brought those up. Some of these ammos, I mean, like dragon's breath, for instance, what possible, other than hitting somebody with some hot bird shot and a flame or whatever, it's just so impractical. It's just, like I said, it's novelty. You have some of the shot pellets for 9mm, and those, and I've actually, used those. They're great for killing snakes. If you're out there, out here where I live in the country, there's rattlesnakes all over the place. I mean, of course, when we go rattlesnake hunting, we take shotguns, put some bird shot, whatever in it. But, just your everyday carry doesn't hurt. If you have an extra mag out here in the country, if you're out there hiking or whatever, that bird shot type works well. You have ammos like these streak tracer rounds that I've already done videos on. I mean, I put them in the preview, but I mean, they pissed me off because like the first, I bought 2 boxes of them. I bought one for my 40 cal, and then I got one 9mm, and like, it says shoot indoor range or when it's darker or whatever. Okay, cool. I go set up the camera tripods or whatever on at my range. I'm shooting, and if you watch the clip and look closely, I actually slowed it down. You see me, and then you just see it looks like a flashlight going on and off like that. And I was like, well, I'm watching the tape because I was like, oh, that's bullshit. Now, the other thing is I was standing behind it, looking towards the target or whatnot, down alley, down range, and like, it was still kind of bright the first time I did it. Couldn't see shit, whatever. Go out a second time, see that little flash on the front from the recording, but not from actually shooting it, which is pointless because the whole point is you as the person shooting the gun should be able to see them. So basically what it is the slug, and we'll get into detail. I mean, you can check out the other video that I've already posted a while ago about it, but the slug or whatnot, on the underside of it, there's a kind of chemical little thing on it or whatever, and so when it heats up, it reacts, and you're supposed to be able to see it. So, some guys have told me, well, you also need a little bit more room when you're shooting it, so it has enough time, you'll see it that way or whatever, but if you're up close, most likely it'll probably hit your mark before you even see the flash of it. And so I went out and did that in the dark. They don't work the greatest. They're okay. Would I go spend, I don't know, I think they were like $18.99 a box. I mean, it's just a fancy hollow point, and that's all it was to me for the most part. It was disappointing, but you can't really get your hopes up for, some of that type of shit. But like, then I have those velvet rounds with the exploding tips. Now, I've got a bunch of these. I bought a ton of them at gun shows or whatever. They're not going to be found in any regular firearm shop or whatever sporting goods store. But, those, they have that red tip in the middle of the hollow point. But here's the funny thing about that. So, I've shot these before, that red tip, all it is another, basically it's just a primer cap. It doesn't blow things up, you know, all cool like we would hope. Get tannerite for that shit for starters. But you know, you shoot, you hit the metal targets, you hit the gong, you know, whatever hard surface it impacts, and all it does is it just crushes that primer, blows up, looks really cool, and there's a few sparks around it. Um, you know, they're fun, but a lot of people think that they're like super dangerous and all this stuff. Guys, we're handling firearms. Every ammunition that's live is dangerous, so why does it fucking matter what type we shoot? Hollow points, I mean, for starters, if you're gonna shoot somebody, I think they're more humane than if you were to hit them with ball ammo, because, I mean, hell, hollow point, you're gonna have a bigger hole, you're gonna cut through everything, kill somebody faster. You know, ball ammo, you're looking at, yeah, you'll most likely kill somebody if you shoot them in self-defense with it. However, there's also a very good chance that person who goes right through them, person survives. And you know, somebody had commented on one of my other videos about this, and he was like, you know, and then think about it this way as well. Other people around the area, if you're shooting this person, it goes right through them, and it could hit other people and be a whole liability mess. Which, you know what? I thought about it. I'm like, what are the odds of that? And I was like, wait a minute. But this has happened, and it has happened recently, and it was a huge headline in the news. So with that Alec Baldwin Rust case, you know, it was a tragedy. It was a very sad thing that took place and happened. A lot of negligence, and who knows what else going on, but unsafe as hell. Let's put it that way. No safe practices, and you know, Alec Baldwin trying to dodge accountability. But anyways, Baldwin, even though he didn't load the gun, whatever, I don't care, whatever the case may be, we know he pulled the trigger. He shot. It went right through Elena Hutchins, and then, or I think that's her name. Elena something, whatever, goes right through her and actually hits the dude standing right behind her, and it nailed him like somewhere. And I'm just thinking, man, if he was just over just a tad bit more, he would have probably got killed too. So, you know, that's kind of something to take into consideration when you think about, oh, our hollow points are the devil and they're so evil and all this shit. It's like these specialty rounds. You gonna go shoot somebody with dragon's breath? No. Yeah, sure, the fire's cool, but what good's that gonna do? Not to mention they really screw up your barrels. That's why you get a cheap one or whatever to do stuff like that. But you know, the primer cap, the velvet bullets, same thing. It's like you shoot them. It's like a little cute extra little cap gun thing at the end. It's not super explosive or anything. They're fun, but you know, something people to consider, take into consideration. The one that gets me though, and this is the one that I haven't tried it yet. I still have it. Just for some reason, gotten around to it, and that is these shotgun shells. You load it into your shotgun, shoot, and supposedly the wad and everything on the inside of this cleans your barrel out. So here's the funny part about that though. You're cleaning the crap out of your barrel, but you're also, let's see here, igniting. You're going to have something that has to propel that. Now, it might be a lower amount of, you know, grain or whatnot in the load, but the thing is you're using something that's going to make it dirty to clean it from being dirty. So, I mean, it's kind of like, who buys this shit? And then I thought about, well, I did, because I want to see what it actually does. But I don't know. There's just some weird shit out there. It's, yeah, you know, you think about it and people buy it. I mean, they go nuts over it. But, you know, it's what it is. Gun companies, ammo companies need to make money. Why not? Screw it. But, you know, that's my thoughts on that matter. Now, I did mention Tim Kennedy in the title. If you guys aren't familiar, there's a great podcast called Anti-Hero Podcast, and they've been calling bullshit on a lot of these guys coming back from, you know, fighting 20 years in the desert and kind of embellishing their careers, or at least, you know, set you on a path to critical thinking and assessment. And Tim Kennedy, I never watched his Sean Ryan interview, but you know, they played clips of it, and I don't know if they played the full context, because like I said, I haven't seen the Sean Ryan full interview of Tim Kennedy. But there's some things he said in that. It's like, dude, who in their right mind going through all that type of training and all, and I'm not taking away from Tim Kennedy, being a Green Beret and all that shit. But what I think's sad and upsetting is a lot of people look up to him. And there's a lot of things in his book that came out, which I haven't read either. This is all based off of watching that podcast. And that is, he's contradicting himself constantly. One of the big things is him going, oh yeah, the CIA contacted me and told me, hey, you're on the hit list for ISIS, blah, blah, blah. And he was like, what was your reaction to that happening? He was like, oh, right on, man. And then I got, as soon as I could, I called up Fox and had them put me on the TV, on the news. And then I flat out told them my address and told them they're more than welcome to try to come and get me and all this stuff. And I'm just thinking in my head, this guy just endangered his own family. Like, why would you invite that element? If you're on a hit list or some crap by a terrorist organization and you're going to do something stupid like that and put your family into harm's way, boy, that, in my mind, that was just a dumbass, terrible move. He talks about when he was in Afghanistan, and he's talking about, he was in Fob Anaconda and, with this convoy, and he was almost out of ammo, but then like the next page, all of a sudden he's got like a whole bag of frags, and I don't know, just contradictions. You guys accomplished some cool stuff, being in the military, ultimate fighting, and I actually liked him, but now it's like, man, I have this doubt in my head about him. And it just seems to be this huge embellishment with a lot of people about a lot of things. It's just when they write their books and whatnot. But, there's a lot of that stuff. I could go on and elaborate more, continue talking, but I would recommend you actually go watch the actual show where they're going over all this stuff and not just my secondhand account. Because, a lot of this is also opinion. The Anti-Hero podcast, I like what they're doing because they've got guys from Delta, on there. They've got guys that, were in special forces for the Army, or things like that. So, they can, when they call bullshit, they've got some people who are trained in that field and that can also verify it. And they also do their homework and contact, they contact people that are mentioned in the book. And, so I strongly recommend it. They have a great podcast, but that Tim Kennedy thing is pretty upsetting, but that just seems to be more common more and more every day, as far as a lot of these special operators and stuff. And what's sad is, they're guys that you want to look up to. Everybody has this very high image of, oh man, that guy's a freaking hero. He's so cool. Kids want to grow up. They want to enlist. They want to be a Ranger and be a Green Beret, or if you're a man, you want to be a Marine. But, the whole thing on it's just like, and then they give out that bad image. This like bullshit of lofting grenades and, turning on a thermal scope and shooting corpses at nighttime that are moving to make sure they're dead, just like 300 when the Spartans came through and stabbed all the corpses on the ground. Tim Kennedy saying shit like that, boy, man, that's concerning. But final note for tonight. So I've been doing that stuff on Byrna, Less Lethal or whatever. I actually tried to reach out through email to those guys, because I'd really love to ask some questions and whatnot. And it's not so much as like to rip these people and criticize them or whatnot. I just think the transparency would be cool for starters. I don't agree with how they market things. I'm not a marketing major though, so what do I know? But I don't know. I figure, you know what, man, if I'm gonna go all out, I'm gonna go all out and actually try to get in touch with somebody from the company. I've looked over Better Business Bureau things involving them. I've looked over a lot of complaints involving them, whether it be pepper ball guns blowing up in people's cars or, crap like that. And I'm just curious because I'm going to automatically give the biased opinion of I think they're stupid. Get a real firearm. But, that's just me. And I just, so it's because you still can't carry it if you don't have a concealed carry permit. You can open carry in open carry states or whatever the laws are in that area. But people under the impression people think, oh well, it's not a real firearm, so I can carry it around. It's off of CO2 like a pellet pistol or some crap like that. So I mean, you can see where the concerns are, but yeah. So I'm trying to get in touch with them because hell, if they're able to send something out or get more information on it or questions or whatnot, I'd be more than happy to do that and provide that information because I really feel like there are liberals trying to profit off of banning guns and shit. Truly feels that way to me. I mean, total liberal propaganda crap. Oh, less lethal. I don't have to take a life, but I feel safe. Oh, I'm a real estate agent, and I feel like this is one of the most important tools I have. Or you could just get a gun. I mean, these Byrna things, I think the cheapest one I saw while I was doing research are like $375. And I just thought, that's probably enough where you could buy like a Smith & Wesson SDB series or whatever. They're like, I think those run like 350, 400, something like that. Shit, man, you can get a real gun for that price. The ammunition's insane how much it costs. And I mean, regular firearms, I mean, as it is, it's an expensive hobby if you're into it that way. Ammunition, supplies, and let's face it, guys, we're never satisfied with just the amount of firearms we have. There's always something cool out there we want to add to our collections or whatever. But it's an expensive hobby, and I just like this Byrna thing, man. I mean, it's hella expensive. And then I was just thinking in my head, well, let's see, if criminals aren't supposed to have guns in cities, they're going to have them. We all know that. This Byrna thing, though, I mean, I don't know. The whole thing is just too ridiculous for me to even try to like wrap my mind around it. Because I mean, here's the thing: if they're gonna classify the burn whatever Byrna things or whatever as a firearm, or like people can't carry them around, there's really no point in having them. I would guess. I mean, basically, you wasted $400 or whatever they cost, depending on the model you got. And that's just something to think about and take. Some of you guys live in the larger cities. See, I live out in the country, so as far as exact laws and things like that go, off the top of my head, I wouldn't be able to say, but from my understanding, as we all know, Chicago is the, highest gun crime city or some shit like that, but at the same time, firearms are banned. So if people are carrying these Byrnas around, less lethal things, are they going to get in trouble for it or are they not? That's my question on it. I don't know about New York. I know there's a bunch of people that from the East Coast here that I, kind of conversation with in chat rooms and shit like that. But I would just automatically assume New York's probably not too far behind Chicago. But it's just that impression. I've even heard mace and stuff like that, pepper spray can get you, in trouble or whatever for carrying it. But that's just rumors from what I've heard. I've never really looked into that one. So, but aside from that, man, one last thing I gotta say here, we'll call it a night, is if these Byrna things, if you can legally purchase a firearm, don't be a pussy and buy a Byrna. Go buy a real firearm and train with it. I mean, survival-wise, think about it. You're gonna go out and shoot a deer with a Byrna kinetic ball or whatever the hell that they shoot out of those things. And then the other thing about it too is anytime you type Byrna, Jeremy Duet pops up. And if for all y'all, I'm sure everybody knows who he is. The dude that fakes like he was an officer running a funeral procession. Scumbag of the world, entertaining of his stupidity. Don't get me wrong. I think and the greatest thing about it is it's his own body cam footage that they used against him in court of him trying to stop traffic, get into it with people, all sorts of shit. And so like Jeremy Duet has one of those on his hip. Turns out he's a kitty toucher or whatever, and failed to register. They arrest him. He's not even supposed to have any types of weapons or anything along that line. But I don't know. That dude, boy, man, he's got like 13 different charges for impersonating an officer and all sorts of crap. I mean, it's just insane. But anything that dude has, man, I wouldn't want to touch it with 10-foot pole. So you guys all enjoy your weekend. Hopefully you're safe and there weren't too many fights on Black Friday over Walmart swag that's on sale. But you guys have a good evening. Take care.